Welcome to the Dental Team Podcast. I'm your host, Kiera Dent, and I have this crazy idea that maybe I could combine a doctor and a team member's perspective because let's face it, dentistry can be a challenging profession with those two perspectives. I've been a dental assistant, treatment coordinator, scheduler, biller, office manager, regional manager, practice owner, and I have a team of traveling consultants where we have traveled to over 165 different offices coaching teams. Yep, we don't just understand you, we are you. Our mission is to positively impact the world of dental, and I believe that this podcast is the greatest way I can help elevate teams, grow VIP experiences, reduce stress, and create A-teams. Welcome to the Dental Team Podcast. Hello, Dental Team listeners. This is Kiera, and today is one of my favorite podcast topics. I hope you guys are ready for it. I love Practice Autopsy / Practice Transformation Day. It's always fun to highlight our clients. So that's one of my favorite things because honestly, I get so much satisfaction from helping people live their dream lives. I love to teach you to be awesome in dentistry. I love to teach you how to run successful businesses, happy teams, and to give you your dream of a life. So I love Office Autopsy Day. I heard that these are some of the most favorite podcasts that we put out there because I think it's just fun. It's fun for you to hear what other offices are doing. So today, if you have loved our podcast, if it's ever blessed your life, do us a solid favor. Go leave us that 5-star review. You can either do just 5 stars or you can leave it. If you leave it, I will read it on the podcast live. I appreciate you guys. Let's just do a shout out right now to a podcast listener. James Maxwell left us one saying, the Dental Team podcast always provides such actionable content, and I look forward to listening every week. Kiera is so genuine and relatable, and Tiff even got me looking forward to reworking my morning huddles. Keep up the amazing job. Well, James Maxwell, massive thanks to you. Thank you for that review, and thank you for just sharing the Dental Team podcast with your friends and community because my goal is to positively impact the world of dentistry in the greatest way possible. And the only way to do that is for you guys to share it with more people. So if this has blessed you, go do those 5 stars, tag us on social media. I geek out when I see you guys tag us as you're driving in the car because I just feel like I'm getting to be a part of your life and just cheering you on. So just know Kiera Dent's hanging out with you wherever you are, mowing the lawn. I hear some people listen to me mowing the lawn, traveling with you on flights, on your way to and from the office, when you're at home making dinner. I don't actually want to know if you're in the shower. Just keep that to yourself. Someone told me once and I felt weird about that. So just keep that one to yourself. But truly just to be a part of your life with you and just know that I'm cheering you on and that you really are doing better than you think you are. I think it's really easy to criticize and to constantly look to refine ourselves. But today I just want to remind you that you are doing better than you think you are. And you are actually a shining example to someone else. Someone else looks at you and wants to be like you. And so keep going. Don't give up. Keep trying. Keep evolving. And just know I'm rooting you on. And if there's any way the Dental Team can ever support you, guys, it doesn't have to be hard. What if this could be easy? Because with Dental Team, it truly can. So reach out. There's no reason to suffer alone. That's your choosing. There are resources out there. And as consultants, I feel like there are tons of consulting companies out there. But what I love about who we are and what I will commit to you and promise to you is that every consultant on Dental Team has been there, done that, and done it successfully. So we've been in your shoes. We've grown practices, we've sold practices, and we've done it successfully. And so when I look at coaches, I just hired a personal trainer and there's a lot of personal trainers out there. And I said, absolutely not. I want someone who's done it and done it successfully. And she successfully is teaching me how to track macros. And she has been in 3 bodybuilding competitions and she's won. And she struggled with eating disorders like I have. And I'm like, that's the coach for me. She's checking off all my boxes and I want her to train me because I want to be like her. I want to overcome eating disorders. I've been great. I've been super good. But getting back into working out can totally trigger that back in. So finding a coach that's been there successfully and tracked food successfully and has competed successfully and has a healthy relationship with food, that's the coach for me. So if you guys are looking for team members and morale and cash flow and all the things we're going to talk about on today's Office Autopsy, then reach out. hello@thedentalyteam.com. I would love to help you. I would love to be there because as the Dental Team, we've been there, we've done that, and we've done it successfully time and time and time again. We weren't just like a flash in the pan, a one-time nailed it. It's literally been time and time and time again. Success, success, success. A client texted me today and he said, Kiera, you guys are super customized. Like it's not a cookie cutter. It's not a plug and play. He said, literally, you look at every practice, you look to see what do they need and you deliver that. And that's truly just warmed my heart because that's what we love to do. Give you your dream life. So with that, let's office autopsy. So I've got a practice. I was trying to think of which one I wanted to do. So I'll just dive into this practice. It's a new when I met them. So we've been together coaching for about 2.5, 3 years. And when I met them, they were brand new out of school and they were trying to buy a practice. So it was really fun to help them go through that vetting process. And we reached out to a ton of people throughout the area they knew they wanted to move back to. They built flyers and they built a website. So that was really fun to kind of build that and then just reach out to retiring doctors in the area. So that's how we started. That's how we found the practice. And before they purchased, so when you're a new office looking to work with us, we typically like to work with offices about 2 to 3 months before close because we're putting together a ton of systems and like all the things you need to get done before you close on your practice. So, for example, we got to make sure we got your merchant set up. We've got to make sure we figure out the name if we need to get a logo. Also, all the systems in place internally, making sure we've got the CPA and we've got the bookkeeping set up correctly, and you've got all the different pieces put together. That's really where we like to come in, make sure that checklist is done, and then also start helping you of like learning what an office manager should do, learning what the billing department should do. All those different pieces are really what we're looking at that we want to make sure we have in place for you before you open the doors. I call it kind of like the nesting phase. So, like when new moms and new dads are about to have a baby, they nest and they nest really hard. So, like 2 to 3 months before that baby's there, they're getting all the things ready, buying the stroller, getting the car seats, getting the formula, buying the clothes. That's how I feel like you are about to birth this brand new practice. And we want to make sure we've got you nested and put together as much as we can. It's still going to be an adjustment for you as new parent of this practice. But that's really where we like to start with a practice when they're that way. So this practice, I helped them. It was a fee-for-service practice, and fee-for-service practices are always thrilling because when you buy a fee-for-service practice, usually the value is that doctor who's about to leave. And so trying to retain and maintain that fee-for-service. Same thing with you for going out of network. You've got to remember if you're going out of network, those patients are sticky with you because of insurance a lot of times. So if you go out of network, you got to find a way to make them tethered and sticky to you again. So this practice, we really worked hard. So before they even bought the practice, I worked really hard with them to separate their roles. It was a husband-wife duo. And I found, and this can be in partnerships, it can be in relationships, but when you go in and you're owning a practice, we've got to develop who's over what. Otherwise, the water gets murky and balls get dropped. So what are their natural skills and abilities? What do they like to do? And what do they even need to make sure they're doing? So in a partnership, so whether you are buying a practice, whether you work with your spouse or your significant other, or if you are partners, I think this is just a really paramount exercise to do. And so what we did is we broke down who's going to be over like the billing, the finances, the growth, like all of that. And we selected one doctor to be over that. They're over profitability, they're over paying the bills, they're over making sure that like all of the taxes and everything's set up correctly. Then we have another one who's really good just with systemization and implementation. And so that doctor's job was to be over all of like the protocols, the note templates, all of the trainings, all of the meetings, really over the team. So like hiring and firing, that falls under the financial side. Team system implementation falls under the other one side. Then it was like for them, because it's a husband-wife duo, who's going to be over the dental assistant team, who's over hygiene team, and who's over front office team. So we set them up, separated them out, made sure there was someone over them. And then their job was to learn those departments inside and out. And so really that was kind of like a good separation. It's who's reporting the KPIs, who's responsible for running the numbers, who's responsible for culture, who's over the different departments. So it really was a strong like divide and conquer, which I think actually helped them exponentially. So brand new owners. And we went in, and first things first, what we did is we just set up like, let's get your fee schedules in, like make sure the fee schedules are in. Let's make sure billing's going out correctly. Let me teach you guys how to do the billing portion of it. Let's set up the provider views correctly. Let's make sure we know what our daily goals are. Let's set up an annual goal for you guys. Let's make sure you guys know where we're headed. What do we need to be hitting monthly to make sure we're on track for that? And then really driving it home of, okay, perfect. We've got all these things. Now, what systems do we need to put in place that are going to grow this forward? So first systems we put into place were morning huddle, end of day checklist, And then like treatment planning trackers and handoffs. Those are really the 4 main systems we put in right away, because morning huddle is going to help them stay focused. Their end of day checklists are going to make sure everything's getting done. And so one less thing those doctors need to think about, like, let's give out the duties, let's give out the job descriptions and send that on their way. The treatment tracker, making sure like we knew how to close cases and we were watching that, because as new owners, high bills, we need to make sure we're closing and we can look for trends from the doctor side and from the closer side. And then also handoffs, because if we can get perfect handoffs and we can learn how to do a perfect handoff, that next visit, date, time, recare, like tie the pretty bow at the end of your exam, that then is a perfect handoff to come up front, help close more cases and give more clarity for patients. So that was really our like, let's dive into these first systems. Let's put these into play. And it's been really fun to watch this practice. So let's fast forward a little while. Their first year, I think that we closed about 700,000 their first year. Super proud of them. Very successful profitability. Now this year, so we're 2 years later, they are, excuse me, it'd be 3 years later, because we went through COVID together. So, and that was their like right at the beginning, trying to figure out, how do we hire? Do we pay these people the same thing? Like in a remote area, how do we bring in more team members, even though we're really a small community? And then like we were only averaging, I'm not kidding you, I think when we started, we were getting 3 new patients a month, and I wanted to cry. 2 doctors, 3 new patients a month. I remember the day we celebrated when we got 8 new patients, because it was such a growth from where we had been. The way we were able to grow the new patients was using Swell for Google reviews. We got 85 Google reviews in 1 month. So plug for Swell. If you guys want to use Swell, be sure to let them know Dental A Team sent you. I have their like very beginning, as they started their company, for you guys, of a discount, and no other company. I talked to Zeke, the owner. No one else gets that affiliate fee. And so just be sure to mention Dental A Team. But 85 Google reviews in 1 month, like we were cranking it. I actually tested Swell on this practice to see if I even thought they'd be a good company to use and recommend. And then we also connected them with an incredible marketer who's been amazing and has helped grow to where we celebrated last month of them having 35 new patients. So going from 3 new patients to 35 new patients, which doesn't sound like a lot, but as a fee-for-service practice, not having enough patients, really, truly, I am so proud of that growth, but also showing it takes a long time in a small niche fee-for-service community where there's doctors there. They're in a very remote area, very few people. They've got to really retain their team members. And that's something I think to note that's really impressive about this practice is they're a small remote town. I won't share where they are to keep them anonymous for you, but it's a small remote rural area. And I do work with quite a few of these offices. And what I found is your team culture is very different. It's not like the cities where you can hire and fire as much as you want. They don't have that many people. So if they tick off their team members, they're going to go to their competitors, and there's no one else out there for them. So remote areas really do have some challenges that cities don't have. And so for this one, we had to work very hard, ridiculously hard, to make sure we had a great culture, that we kept our hygiene team. No joke. They sent me an ad the other day that a hygienist was being offered a job for $150 an hour in their town. So when I say remote, that's a pretty high offer to bring on a hygienist. So can you imagine new owners, debt, and now you're going to be paying 150 for a hygienist? I told them if it gets to that level, we're hiring a doctor. We will not be paying that fee for a hygienist. So we really had to work on culture. And truthfully, these 2 owners did an incredible job. We started tracking overhead. We started tracking their case acceptance. We started looking at that every single week. We were dealing with, how do we retain team members and make sure that they stay here when it's a new doctor? And I think the doctors did such an incredible job of just genuinely loving their team, genuinely making their team feel seen and heard and loved. We did fun things, like we figured out what to do for holiday parties. We figured out what to do for raises, and when do we give raises, and what do we do for insurance, and how do we lost our office manager very early on. So I want to say within 3 to 4 months of them purchasing the practice, their office manager, who they were leaning on, left. And so they had to find another office manager, which is very terrifying, especially when you don't know what it is. during COVID, everything shut down. And the doctor, the one who's over systems and operations, she jumped in and she actually learned how to do billing from A to Z because she had claims she needed to figure this out. And so it's really awesome. She's empowered now and can teach new team members how to do that. And so in the 3 years that we've worked together, we've gone from 700,000 to trending to 2.2 million this year. They're expanding. We're adding in 7 more operatories for them, and we figured out a schedule. Uh, the wife in the relationship is dropping back down. They had some babies during our time together, and so she's only going to be working a couple of days a week, radically dropping down. And we were able to figure out a way to build their schedule to at least 2x where they currently were. So that's really a fun thing for me as a consultant to help them have a dream life. We're not working any Fridays. Each of them has a day home with their kids. And what's really beautiful that I love to do is to hear what people want and to create that dream life with them. We could have easily jumped into the boat of like, oh my gosh, we don't have enough patients. We need to open up more days. We need to do evening hours. But this doctor duo was super intentional on the life they want to live. And I think something I love about them is they learned that the business should serve their life. And it's funny, my husband and I, this is like really embarrassing to admit to you, in our master bathroom. So my husband and I use the restroom. No one else will ever see it. I put this like chalkboard in the bathroom. So we like can write each other like little love notes and whatnot. And don't worry, there's hand sanitizer and it's very sterile and it's not like inappropriately placed. Um, but one day I wrote on there, I said, we're living and work is there to serve us. We don't serve our jobs. And it's funny because I wrote that for my husband and I read it often. And I think this duo of this office autopsy really shows that I think that they have learned to have their business serve their life. They're serving their patients at the highest level. And in doing that, they're expecting to have a great life. So it's been fun year over year. We've set up different goals for them personally. I always set personal goals and professional goals with them. So on this personal goal, they said like one year they wanted to get a deck to be able to entertain and have more friends. Other times they've said that, they want to go on vacations. And I watched them love their team, like truly love their team. And so their team wants them to succeed. They want them to take time off. They want them to go very successful. And so it's been super, super fun to watch the team just rally around these doctors who love them, to watch their new patients grow, to watch them evolve into these amazing owners who love, and to have their business serve their personal life. They've got young kids, they've got fun things. And so they said, we want to go on vacation every single quarter. And so to find a way of what do we need to produce? Let's write that off. Like, you're going on these vacations. Let's figure out how the team can work and operate. What projects can we have your team do while you guys are gone, and or they can take vacations, has just been so fun. And so I feel like they're just a great office autopsy for you guys to see that you can live your dream life. Your business should serve you at the highest level. It took us 3 years before we decided we were going to do a build out. We built up to it. We saved for it. We created the profitability in the business to ensure that they would be secure and that they could serve more patients. But we didn't do it before the marketing was there. And we didn't do it before we had a team in place. And now they've got a really strong office manager and they've got strong hygienists and they've got just a strong culture. They're constantly growing, constantly learning, but they're solid as business owners. And I think the beautiful thing is they're literally having this business serve their life. And then they're serving their team and their patients. And so really just for you guys taking notes away from it is, do you have those simple things in play? Do you have the morning huddles in place? Do you have the end of days in place? Do you have a treatment tracker in place? And are you doing perfect handoffs? Are you looking at the profitability? Have you divided roles between partners to know who's over what, to make sure that there's nothing missing and no cross lines? They have CEO days where they meet together once a week and they review the parts of the business, because especially as a husband-wife duo, it's really easy to miss that. We have set date nights that the team support so that way they can support their relationship as well. And then we really have just found a way to make the business even more profitable and like serve more patients while giving them the life that they truly want to have. And it was really cool because I built out a harder schedule and they came back to me and they said, no, we don't want that. This is the schedule we want. Let's build it around this. And so just really realizing that in your practices, make sure it's serving you in the life you want to live. And don't be afraid to say what you want, because there's always a way for us to make it real for you. There's always a way for us to make the business fit your needs. And I found that when people are happy, when owners are happy in their business flourishes and thrives. So I want you just to check yourself. Is your business serving you, or are you serving your business? Do you have these simple systems in place? Are you looking to have the business set up to serve your lifestyle, in addition to serving the patients and the team you have in place? So just kind of really assessing that. And just so you know, it's been over time. It's been fun to watch them from buying the practice to where we are today, expanding the practice, having them expand their family and bring on more children, and not be sacrificing quality of life for growth of business, but still growing through the process. So it's been a slow grow. It's been a very successful grow. It's been a very profitable grow. It's been a very sustainable grow. And so sometimes it's fun to come on and do these 10x practices. This is real life, and there's no right or wrong. It's your life, your style, and what you want to evolve and become. And so I love these stories. I love sharing them with you. I love telling you what we do on them. And then encouraging you that if you want that life, if you need that help with your team, like we've trained an office manager who's come from an industry not in dentistry to become an incredible office manager. And that's the joy that I have of helping them get their dream life, training their team, being able to bring people in from other industries and taking that load off of their shoulders. So if that resonates with you and you want to be the next office autopsy, be sure to reach out. hello@thedentalateam.com. You guys can just book a call right there. Kes is incredible. Our team's amazing. And if nothing else, you'll get a free strategy call out of the deal. So be sure to reach out, because I believe that life is meant to be enjoyed, and you can be successful and fulfilled, and you don't have to compromise or sacrifice either one. We need to be disciplined. We need to have daily disciplines. We need to make it very simple and easy for you and your team to succeed, and then make it happen. So guys, reach out. I'd love to help you. And as always, thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next time on the Dental Lane Team Podcast. And that wraps it up for another episode of the Dental Lane Team Podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.